Alrighty, the Hight Today Show. He knows what the fuck it is.
Yeah.
I went to his show, the Flamingo, on 6th, and they were so
We were
weird.
also there.
Were y'all there that night?
Yeah, we all did that.
It was terrible. Were y'all there this last one?
No, I think it was like 2
Okay,
months
it's a good
ago,
thing you
or
didn't go to
something
that
like
one.
that,
This
yeah.
last one, they didn't even have the fucking door open. I just
Oh,
walked
no.
in, I walked in and was like, why is this place a secret? Like, what the fuck? You want people to come in, you're on 6th Street. All you have to do is open your door. People just like wander.
Yeah, there's
in.
people wandering. They will come
They
in.
wander and you get a fucking a group of bro dudes and you just guide them in. And then you get some bachelorettes and you have a party.
Yeah,
They
exactly.
were acting like shy or something. It was pissing me off. It's all right though. How
Yeah,
it goes,
because
guys?
you're trying to run a fucking show. You're trying to get people. in
Yeah,
there.
I don't know. I was like, you know what, Whitey, you better hit me up for some real shit. That's his name.
Yeah.
All right, guys. So we have here on the Hight Today Show. Tell us your names, gentlemen.
Gabriel Kerr.
Scott Wharton.
You are Stoney Baloney.
Yeah, collectively.
Yes.
Thanks for coming out, gentlemen.
Fuck yeah. Thanks for having us. This is fantastic.
I think I knew Scott first, right?
I
I'd go to
think
your
so.
house parties,
Yep.
and then I met you guys together probably around the first either that night at one of those house parties or like the first podcast we did together a little while ago.
Yeah, I think the first episode we did, which was like, what was that, like a little over a year ago? I think that was the first time I'd actually met you. I'd obviously seen you at Creek and stuff like that. But it was the first time we actually had a
You
conversation.
never
shy.
met. You never met Victor before
No,
we had
not
him on the
officially.
podcast.
No, not officially.
Really?
Yeah, I
didn't
don't.
know
I
that.
don't go
Yeah.
up to people a lot, dude.
Yeah.
Like
I'm
other
the
than
same
like
way.
doing things, like
Yeah.
unless there's something happening, like oh man, I'm really bad about that.
Yeah.
And I'll just stare at someone like, but I never say hi. I'm like, hello. How's it going?" I don't know. Yeah, I'm fucking awkward, man. Unless I'm performing.
I feel like every time, same. And I feel like every time I come out to the back here at Creek, you're tucked in the back corner over there. And I usually do the same thing. I just do it on the
I'm usually
on the
rolling
stage.
something up, and I got the walls behind me because I like having like a good view of the whole room, like seeing all the exits,
Yeah.
and just like get a vibe, just get a feel, especially out back there. That's like the heart of the city right there. Like,
Yeah.
it really is. Like
In a
if
way,
you
yeah,
sit
for
right
sure.
there for long enough, like on a weeknight, you understand everything that's going on. Like it's important to just like come by and like put your ear to the ground and see what these fucking
Yeah, it is interesting because there's so many obviously there's an oversaturation of comedy clubs and just spots in town now, but this has persisted as the spot that is the hang. Like everybody comes to the back of the Creek. Like that's where you go just to do what you're talking about, to interact with to meet new people, to, make interactions like, oh, hey, do you want to do this thing with me? Like it all happens in the back here.
Yeah,
It's
like,
a good
even if
central
I don't say
location.
hi to every one of these new fuckers that comes in every 3 weeks, it's important to see the new
Oh, come on,
faces.
be welcoming. Be nice. They're not little
it's like
fuckers.
freshmen or something
a
like
lot of
that.
them- a lot of them are.
Every week, like what am I supposed to remember your name? You're gonna be gone in a week. What the fuck? But it's good to see them. At least see the
Yeah.
faces, and they come in through here. There's a mic here at least every night.
Way too many goddamn names, though.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
Oh,
There's
yeah.
so many names to learn. It took
I
me
remember
so
for-
long to learn everybody's names.
For the first year, I knew everybody's names.
Do
And
you
now I can't even
People walk up
pretend
to me and
keep
they're like,
up.
"Hey, Victor." I'm like, "What's up, dude?"
Yeah.
Hey, you.
Hey, man.
Yeah.
And
I
they're
hate
like-
that. I fucking hate that.
Yeah. But you gotta do it.
Also, like the tall guys with long hair and the dude with the Majin tattoo on the forehead, pretty memorable guys.
Yeah.
Like we're easy to remember. We're very noticeable. We
Yes.
stick out. So not trying to like toot our horns, but people remember our names easier because we're like, oh, it's fucking Scott, the tall guy, the tall long haired guy. So I feel like more people remember us than we remember people.
Yeah, which is a hell of a burden because then you feel responsible. You're like, I have to remember these people or I'm an asshole.
I'm pretty good
Like
with
I'm
faces.
actively being a.
Yeah. I'm
Yeah,
pretty good with
I
faces.
remember if I've seen you before. Like I'll remember that always. But
Yeah.
I there's no guarantee I'm going to remember your actual
I'll remember
name.
someone Instagram handle before I know their name.
Yeah, we joked about that several times. It's taken
I
me
swear.
like a while to be like, wait, what is your actual name? All I know
Yeah,
is your
all I know is your weird ass
Yeah.
handle. All right, so you guys, how long y'all been friends?
for
Since 2021, right?
Yeah, 3 years. Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, approaching 3 years.
Yeah.
How long Stoney Baloney been going?
A little over a year.
A little over a year. Started
great.
in his shed.
Has that only been a year? Feels
Yeah.
like way longer. Holy shit.
Yeah.
And then, okay, so how'd y'all meet?
So
Just told this story actually on the
Hold
podcast
hands.
with Rebecca and Alfie.
yeah, so we met at Vulcan. I got on Kill Tony within like, I don't know, 2 or 3 months of moving here.
And I was working Kill Tony.
Wow, it used to be
Meet
there.
cute.
That's so crazy.
Yeah, and that like that was the whole scene. Like that was the center of comedy in this town for a little while.
That was a really
Vulcan.
fun hang too. The after Kill Tony on the
that was
Vulcan
that was
patio
the best
hang.
hang.
God,
That was
that was
Remember
such a good
the
time.
bullpen? Remember the fucking...
That was fun.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, no, sorry. The best hang was the alleyway. I loved the alleyway.
That was
Yeah,
crazy.
that was-
See,
the
between the
alleyway was a
bullpen and the
very
alleyway,
fun-
it's like, okay, I thought the bullpen was bad because they bunch you in there. All right, it was like human fucking cattle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like you weren't allowed to walk around Vulcan if you
At
signed
all.
up.
No, you couldn't
that's
go
what we-
piss.
Yeah.
You
couldn't
couldn't do anything.
go piss. I mean, you could buy a drink, maybe,
You could stand there and buy a drink.
but you have to stand
money.
40 comedians, like, you know, in a row,
Shoulder to
shoulder to shoulder, squatting sometimes in the corner. And then there was 2 corners.
For 2+ hours.
There was 2 corners, and I thought of them as like ball sacks, right?
Nice. The left and right.
The left and right. And like we're waiting to be called out. You know, like we're waiting to be ejected into the crowd onto the stage.
Yeah.
I got passed. I got
Yeah, like,
passed.
oh shit, it's my turn.
Yeah, it's like that run from the audience of The Price is Right. Like,
Yeah, that is exactly what it was like, dude. It was definitely like that.
And you're standing there, I was like, man, it's not like inhumane, I suppose, because being a comedian is already pretty fucked up. Like we
Yes, it felt very
ourselves, yeah, like
It's
we put
part of the dehumanization
Yeah, I was like,
process.
this is wrong, but it's like we signed up for this.
this is literally what we did to ourselves. Yeah.
And then it was like, there's no way this is gonna get worse.
Yeah.
And then they put us in the alleyway.
So that was coordinated by the door guys. We actually told management that we wanted to do that. It was part of a demoralization process and just kind of tighten you guys in, make you feel like shit.
Yeah, what none of the comics knew is that as door guys, we were moving those cattle pens back like 2 inches every week.
Yeah.
The line, there was a
just-
line. There was a line. There
We're
was
moving
like,
it back just a little bit.
Yep.
and they started
just make
fighting
it
each
feel a
other
little
and
bit
shit.
tighter.
And the comedians were like, moo.
There was
moo.
it was such a different experience because the benefit of being in the pen was you got to see the show.
Right. Yeah.
So like every episode, if you wanted to, you could be back there and you got to
could
watch
the
every
show.
episode
Yeah,
live.
that was really neat.
And that was cool.
And it was a treat for you too when you were there and the guests would come out and it'd be Ari and Mark
Oh,
and
it was
Rogan
exciting
or some
because
shit
you
like
also
that.
knew, to your point with the after hang, you also knew there was a good chance you were going to get to actually interact with them afterwards if you
Yeah.
hung out for long enough.
Yeah, right there on that upper roof patio thing.
Yeah, because they're going to hang in the green room till most of the audience is gone, but then they're going to come out and you're probably going to get a chance to interact. with them.
I haven't
It was
been
the
there in
shit.
so long. Is that mural still up there?
It's faded as hell.
It's faded. huh?
Very faded.
and graffitied over.
It's graffitied over.
A little bit.
Well, you know, what do you expect? Huh?
It has a Majin tattoo as
Does
well.
it? Who does? That's hilarious. I do that to somebody's face up there. I do it to all the faces up there.
That'd be fun.
Yeah, and in memorial of the guy that just died. You know, the creator just died. The creator of Dragon Ball.
Okay.
Oh, got it. I was like, wait a minute.
Chris Rogers is dead?
Shit. How did I not hear that?
The guy, the artist that did not that guy. All right. So, all right. How long you been doing comedy, Scott?
Oh, I started doing comedy in March. Actually, my fucking anniversary was 2 days ago. It was March 8th, 2018. I just remember that. Friday was my anniversary.
How many years?
Yeah, you were talking about it leading up to it, and then for some reason you
I forgot, yeah. I got a lot of other stuff. There's been a lot on my plate.
No kidding, man. Me too.
6 years.
You're a killer,
Yeah.
Thank you.
and you love it.
Fuck yeah, I love it.
Yeah,
very
6
fun.
years now. What were you doing before that?
Selling dope and doing manual labor.
Had you ever performed?
Biding time until this happened.
Had I
Isn't that
ever
what we were all
performed?
doing? Just like twiddling our thumbs until we got here?
Until we figured it out. Pretty much, dude. Yeah. Yeah. Just fucking stuck in the mud. You know what I mean? The only time I ever performed before I started doing stand-up comedy was in bullshit plays at church or in school.
Oh.
You know, but they were small roles. It's not like I played Jesus or anything. I think in one.
I obviously did.
Yeah.
Did you audition and shit? That's fun. I did high school plays.
No, and like chorus class in elementary school, you would just get forced to be in the fucking orchestra and in the chorus and do the plays and stuff like that. And I think I got asked to do one of the church plays when I was a kid. All I had to do was point to the star, the Eastern Star.
Did you like being on stage?
Literally, that's all I had to do.
Did you watch a lot of Babe Ruth highlights to
yeah, he has a bat. It's like point. Yeah, he hits a home run right into the fucking.
Well, it would be a staff, obviously.
I'd always been like performative for sure.
Yeah.
I'd always been like a class clown, obnoxious, fucking asshole, disruptive little human being. And then I think when I really realized, oh shit, I think I could do stand-up comedy or want to do stand-up comedy was doing acid with my friends. And we were all on the back deck and everybody's like around the railing of the deck and I was in the middle and I was just panning around to everybody telling stories and telling jokes and fucking goofing off and making everybody laugh and entertaining everybody. And then it just kind of hit me like, I think I could do that to people. And
Your people, I'm pretty sure.
yeah, well, my friends are kind of, yeah, they're subhuman, but they're people. But then I started, between that and when I actually did my first open mic, there was a point in my life where I was selling mushrooms really heavily. And there was a strong 2-week period where I was taking in like an eighth of mushrooms every other night. And I would
so much.
I would stay up.
I'm getting like nervous.
That is a lot.
You know the paranoia that people talk about when they smoke weed. I get so scared whenever I do mushrooms. I can't do that much.
Really? You get the paranoia?
Like I'd go to your parties and you have like a buffet of mushrooms.
You know
And,
what's
like,
funny? I get that
Psychedelics
at the
make me
beginning, like
confident.
as I'm building
No,
up to the feeling. I do get anxious, but then as soon as it sets in, I'm like, yeah.
Yeah, same. I definitely get that. The first rising is
It's like going up a roller coaster for 8 hours. I want to cry.
You're like, it's gonna crest every minute, any minute it's gonna crest, any minute.
I'm just like breathing in really hard.
Okay,
yawning.
so this is an important thing that I think not a lot of people talk about. A lot of people want to pretend like psychedelics are harmless.
No,
But
you have to do it with a lot
to
of
stand-up
like.
comedy. So like kids.
Dangerous.
When you burst your
Stand-up
bubble,
comedy, music, they lead to the arts. Psychedelics lead to the arts, and that's not good for society.
It's not.
That's terrible.
You don't want that
We should all
necessarily,
be working 9-to-5 jobs and offices, and we
be a
should be
square,
plumbers.
right?
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, but otherwise you're gonna do. I like to do acid every quarterly.
Quarterly acid trip?
Quarterly year acid.
That's your
trip.
staff meeting with yourself?
Like, it's been 3 months. We need a review.
Yeah.
We need a state of the union of your soul.
State of the union of your soul.
And sit down and it's like, fucking really go deep. But see, acid is fun.
I love acid.
That's fun. That's colorful. That I get like energized. I feel like going around. Like,
So you don't get any of the negative anxiety with
Nothing.
acid.
Super positive.
I'm
Super
the same.
positive.
Mushrooms are more of a roulette for me than
Mushrooms is
than
like,
acid.
especially so. Like I said, like at your party, it's like there's 3 or 4 different strains of just mushrooms, and like every room you walk into, there's a different mushroom in there.
And a different mushroom experience
And
happening.
there's like fire twirlers in the back, and they're throwing mushrooms at you too.
There's a stripper pole over here. Yeah,
And
it's
then
a
we're
very
doing
different parties happening.
We're going hardcore.
It's a good experience.
It's like it's too much, man. I
mushroom
get scared.
Easter egg hunt.
Yeah, and I'm like, I just want to party. I don't want to get all scared and shit around people. And so that's whenever the Coke comes in. That's the only time. That's the only time Coke ever helps. It's never done anything like Scarfacey or nothing like that for me. It's never like pep me up. But those nights at your fucking crib, whenever it's too much mushrooms, that'll bring me right back to reality.
You just need a little ego.
Yeah, just one or two lines. I'm like, okay, I'm a normal person again.
Yeah, exactly.
Those mushrooms mean nothing now.
You do. You just have to reinstate the ego just a little bit.
Just a little bit.
All right, so
Cocaine ground me.
yeah,
Which is such a weird thing. No one's ever like, I need to ground myself.
Because the cocaine's like, I thought you were supposed to be grinding me.
No, yeah, like, I'm way too ethereal, and I do.
It's a little one.
I need
It's
some
a
pride to ground me for sure. Those are the things I learn at your parties.
There's a lot of self-understanding that happens at these parties, for sure.
So, how long you been doing comedy, Gabe?
This year will be my 5th year anniversary. In November.
5th. Okay, so 6 and 5.
Yeah.
How'd you get started?
So I actually dabbled in stand-up when I was 15. I went to this big mega church in Atlanta, and these 2 stand-up comics who were on the like Christian circuit came into town and did our big annual youth event. And I was on the audio video team, so I ended up just helping them out and interacting with them and stuff. And they needed somebody to do that for them while they went on tour, because they would do it was 2 twin brothers, and they would do like, one of them would do their stand-up act, and then they would do like skits in the middle,
But
and
like
then a little
God
video
stand-up?
thing. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. It was God stand-up for
Religious
sure. Yeah.
stand-up.
So
There's a
do-
market for that. There's a
Jesus.
huge
Oh,
market for that.
it's just like Christian music. It's they make so much money.
Yeah, there's rap.
It's
there's
very
Christian
pointed,
hip
but,
hop,
like,
and,
yeah.
and,
Oh, yeah.
and rock.
You
Yeah.
just go to different churches and like regional church conferences and shit in different fucking areas.
Y'all both grew
Make
up
that
churchy
money.
and shit.
And that church that I went to specifically was a global denomination. So they literally had churches all over the country. So it was crazy.
They
Or
had
all over
cameras.
the
Did they
US.
stream live and shit?
Yep.
Oh my
Yeah.
goodness.
Yeah, it was the church was started in Australia, so we did a lot of like live stream events back and forth with
So
the
you were doing
main
like
church in
camera
Australia.
work for Joel Osteen.
Yeah, basically. Yeah.
Whoa, shit.
So I started doing that, and then they were like, "Hey, we need somebody to like come out with us on tour sometimes and do all that shit for us." So I started in the summer between my freshman and sophomore year. I went out with them. And it started as just that, but then through hanging out and stuff, they could tell I had interest in it. So they started working me into like the little skits that they would do in the middle, and then having me MC for them. So I got a taste for that. And then I did that for like all of that summer. And then I ended up homeschooling the next year so that I could keep going with them. So I did that for like a little over a year. I toured all over the country with them. So I got a taste of that very young. And then
How old were you? I forget.
so I was 16 when I stopped doing
So
it.
I've never thought about this before. So for you too, that was like a major opportunity to get the fuck away from the household that you lived in too, like the relationship. I know.
Oh,
that
the
you-
awful fucked up house I lived in. Absolutely. Yeah. So it was also a
I
like,
can get homeschooled and travel around the country
Yes.
with these guys.
Yeah,
Fuck, please
yeah,
get
I
me
can
away.
get
And they
away.
let you
Absolutely.
go.
And I
That's cool.
scholarship. Like I literally got to travel to I think like 30 different states over that year and a half. So like I got to really like experience it because we were super poor, so I didn't get to go anywhere. Like growing up, we'd go on vacations or anything like that. So it was the first time that I also just kind of got to experience the world outside of my very, very tight bubble.
Right.
God.
So it was
Comedy was
obviously
like a
something-
refuge for you.
Yeah, and also comedy like. For me, I didn't have access to music. I was only allowed to listen to Christian music, like strictly.
What were the Christian jokes like?
Lots of jokes about biblical stories. Like it was mostly that type of stuff, and then
knock,
similar
knock,
to
Moses or something.
yeah. That was
Knock,
that
knock,
was a
who's
big one.
there? Lazarus. Lazarus. who?
Well, Lazarus, who?
Jesus,
I'm back
3
again.
days later.
So still Lazarus.
Shit like that?
Gotcha.
Wow.
Yeah.
And they eat that up.
Like what you would hear like Seinfeld, you know what I'm saying? Like clean comedy.
like, what's the deal?
That level of clean comedy,
What's
but
the
it was
deal
just
with
like, what's
sinning?
the deal with Jesus? You know what I'm saying? It was just
God.
like anytime you could work in a message, that was the goal. But yeah, just like the corniest, cleanest comedy you
And
could
so
think
the
of.
skits is like Saturday Night Live for Christians or something?
Kinda, yeah.
Oh,
yeah,
wow.
just like silly little things that they would do.
That's fun.
Yeah.
And so you'd be in front of a lot of people.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh yeah. Big. Yeah. They were selling out, like 1,000-seat theaters and stuff like that. It was,
Nice.
it was big. Yeah. It was
cool.
Different, dude.
It was very weird getting that as my introduction.
Yeah,
I
that's
remember
cool.
the first few times I went out on stage feeling stage fright because I did theater and stuff in school. So I had experienced a little bit of being on stage, but nothing like that. And I remember the first time I went out just being like, holy fuck, that's a lot of eyes. Every one of them is pointing. And also like the show's going on, but I'm the new thing. And so everybody's paying attention to me. It was a lot. It was intense. But I also remember the second after I felt that feeling of like, holy shit, this is a lot. I was like, yeah, I need this. Immediately.
You like it.
Immediately.
It's a
I was
fight or
like,
flight thing.
oh, I gotta have this.
After the first couple
right
times,
away.
like whether you're gonna do this forever for the rest of your life,
Yeah.
or you're never gonna do that again.
Yep. Yeah.
know.
And it was that switch for me. I was like, oh, I have to have this. But then Y2K happened, and these two guys thought the world was going to end, and so they bought a farm in Alabama and like disappeared. And so then my access to comedy went away. And I didn't actually live in the city of Atlanta. That's where the church was, but I lived in like a little like kind of podunk town outside of the city. So I had no access to any of that shit at all. That was it. That was my whole world access to that.
Y2K?
Yeah.
They thought that shit was really gonna go
Oh,
down.
a lot of people thought that shit was going to be
It happens every couple of years then, huh? I mean,
Yeah,
they're thinking
it's
that
nothing.
now.
Yeah, it's literally nothing. It meant nothing. But a lot of people thought it was. And obviously there was a whole industry built about making people feel scared that the world was going to end. So they bought your software that didn't do anything. So yeah, then it just went away. And I spent 20 years not going on stage. I didn't get on stage again until I was 36.
No shit. You don't look that old.
Thank
I didn't
you.
know. I had no idea. Okay. And so now you've been doing it like for a little while now.
Yeah.
Holy shit. Wow. And out here?
Yeah, I started in San Jose, and literally got 3 months in, got my first booked show. I was like, oh, this is happening. Like, this is fucking. And I knew that, like, when I got on stage the first time to perform my own material, I felt that same feeling again, and I was like, oh, this is it. I have to do this. And then 3 months in, I got booked for my first paid show, and I was like, oh, this is really happening.
Fucking A.
And then 2 days later, COVID shut down. Wow. And then I didn't get to get on stage for the entire rest of the year that I was in California.
It wasn't
which
that
is why I
long ago.
moved-
What part of
moved out here.
California?
San Jose.
San Jose. Okay, so all right, what was your first mic like? What did you talk about?
You know what's funny? I still do the first bit that I ever did.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's obviously not the same as it was the first time I did it. I've rewritten it heavily. But yeah, it's still one of my favorite bits to do.
And so
I
all
still
right.
sneak in one of my
Yeah.
first bits,
Y'all
too.
both do
It's
that?
fun. Yeah.
I mean, how'd you find the mic?
So the first mic I went to was at Laughing Skull Lounge in Atlanta. So that's a major club. And I just met somebody who went to the mic, and one of my buddies was there for he just happened to go to the mic, and he and I had both been talking about it. And he's also been doing it for 5 years now in Asheville, but he's a year younger than me, but also, he was 35, and we were just like, fuck it. We've been talking about this for 10 years. Let's go do it. And we both, it was a mic that you had to like email in a month before, and then they came up with the list, but we both got on. And so we fucking went and did it.
Fucking
Yeah.
A.
Yeah.
Do you
And it
remember-
was a very interesting experience, because it like their open mics there are basically like a show. I mean, I think it sits like 75 people in that room, and it had to be at least 65 people. It was almost
That's
packed
actually
all the way to
pretty-
the
yeah.
back for an open mic. And then Chris Tucker showed up at the beginning and did like 30 minutes.
What? Right before you?
Literally right before we went on stage.
Baloney.
And I was like,
Baloney.
what? I was like, what the fuck is going to happen
this is
now?
the not real part.
Like, this was so crazy. The whole experience was nuts.
That's very surreal.
Yeah. Yeah,
That's
it
really
was.
cool.
Yeah.
Chris Tucker.
Uh-huh.
God damn.
Yeah.
That's a lot.
Uh-huh.
That's a
Because
big
I was
one.
already nervous enough thinking that it was just going to be a bunch of other people like me. And then he comes in and does. Now, I'll tell you what did help me is he ate shit for like 30 of those 45 minutes. And I was like, well, if Chris Tucker can go on that stage and eat shit, so can I. And I did. I proved that night that I was as good as Chris Tucker that night.
We were watching Friday last night. Yeah. I haven't seen any of his stand up. He's a good actor though.
Yeah.
Fucking A, man. And then you were hooked after that, huh?
Uh-huh. Yep.
And look at you now.
Got
So
the
after
juice.
COVID, then you came over here?
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, I dealt with that there was a new club that opened up in Oakland that I went to for a month. I got on there every single week. The guy was basically, putting me up on I started just doing the open mic and then he started putting me up on the showcases every week. And I was like, all right, fucking momentum again. That was right at the end of 2020. And then they shut that place down and they were outside. All of the tables were like from here to the door and people were wearing masks and they still came and shut that place down. And that was when I was like, I got to get out of California. I can't do this shit anymore.
Yeah, that's why I got
It was
out of there.
insane.
I
It was
was
too
in
much.
LA right around that time.
Okay. Yeah. So you know exactly what that was like.
Yeah,
It was truly insane.
I had my son and it was apocalyptic. Like the playgrounds had, caution tape around it. And the hills were burning like usual. I mean, that happened yearly, but with the added masks,
it felt
people
crazier.
with masks
Yeah.
walking down the street, and the fires happening,
Yeah.
and everything was shut down. I was like, "This is fucked up. I gotta get out of here. This is
It was
scary."
like Terminator.
Yeah,
It was
I was like, it's the end of
gnarly.
the world. I gotta
Yeah.
go home. I gotta go back to my family. I was like, I came back here, and it was perfect timing. But it's like, man, I can't imagine raising a kid in a fucking lockdown in a fucking studio apartment in Los Angeles. Like I couldn't do it. Like I couldn't. He had to get some open air. So we came over here, and I already had family here, and all of a sudden it was like perfect timing. Shit was fine here,
And it was a different world immediately.
and it was like the ending of like an old regime that was going on around here. I don't even recognize any of the people that were the fucking micers that used to be here.
Oh yeah, there's pretty much nobody that was here when we all got here.
It's like Velveeta. It's like the closest to the vibe of what it used to be around here.
Yeah.
All right. So yeah. All right. And then you remember your first time?
My first time doing stand-up?
Yeah. Signing up. How'd you find it?
How did I find it? So I had already written aspiring stand-up comedian in my Facebook bio, and
You trapped yourself. That's fucking excellent.
and then I had just gotten out of a relationship, a 7-year relationship, and was just getting back out in the world. I was almost kind of sheltered because of the relationship. It was weird, possessive fucking happening. Unless I could sneak behind her back and smoke crack.
You have so many emotions. I feel like you fucking you fall deep in love, don't you?
Yeah, for sure.
I feel like you're heartbroken every 3 weeks or something like that, man. I swear. I try to keep up with you.
No, that's just because for the past year I've been fucking and breaking up with and unbreaking up with and fucking
That's
the
what it
same
feels
person.
like.
So it
Yeah.
just feels like, but it's just been that
Poor
same
Scott.
person for the past year.
He's over here flogging himself with females.
Well, I don't have the family trauma and shit anymore, so I need something else to inspire me, so I need that sadness and that heartbreak to go on stage with.
Yeah, that toxicity.
I'm gonna go out on a limb and say, based on your female choices, you definitely still have all the family choices. It's right there where it always was.
You'd be surprised.
No, I started going out to the bars and shit, and was going out on Friday and Saturday nights, and I met this guy, Tony B, who was like, he was a local DJ at all the bars and clubs, but he also used to do like the morning radio show on the hip hop station in town when I was a kid in alternative school. Right.
Oh shit.
So this is like 6 years later.
You were like, your voice is in my brain.
So I'm fucking, doing coke all the time. Sometimes I'm smoking crack. And when it runs out,
On special occasions, you know what I'm saying?
special
Holidays, birthdays.
What's the difference between coke and crack?
Oh,
You cook it, right?
world.
this is a whole,
The world.
this is That's a whole different podcast. One you do indoors,
and one does you.
Yeah, no shit.
I don't think
dude.
crack is a sometimes thing. That didn't work out, huh?
But I was partying like that all the time, and then I would go over to the after midnight when I couldn't buy beer from the gas station next door. I would go to Hard Times, the bar right up the street from the motel I was living in, and I would go get a drink to try and fucking come back down to earth, right? I'd go drink some liquor, and I'd end up seeing friends from high school and people and fucking, hanging out and dancing and partying. I met fucking Tony. I met Tony B, and a couple weeks we added each other on Facebook, and then
Wait, is B short for Baloney?
Yes, Tony Baloney.
Tony Baloney.
So
That's why you weren't saying it. I understand.
I kept coming out and dancing and making a fool of myself, and they gave me a nickname at the bar. They called me Young Jesus. Anytime I would walk in, they would the DJs would shout me out and shit, and I would go make a fucking fool of myself. But we got to know each other through this way, and then he saw the aspiring stand-up comedian thing on my profile and basically bullied me into
shamed you into
because
actually trying it.
Not long after that, my friend Keezer started running the open mics at the same bar at Hard Times. So it was a Thursday night open mic at Hard Times, and I went there and watched a couple of them. I think I watched the first 3, and then the fourth one that they did, I had written material and I went up and did it, and I didn't do bad. And then when I left, I was like, I did it. It was like, I did it. It was just one of those moments for me. It was such a fucking high, dude. I'd also been smoking crack.
I was going to say, compared, the high of
fucking
doing mics compared to crack. What's the, I bet they're both.
You should write a bit about that.
Yeah. They're both pretty hardcore, I guess.
The high from comedy is a lot better because it's free. Sometimes I even get paid for it. And it lasts longer. It's more natural and it lasts longer. 1 10-minute, 15-minute spot here, I've done the Sunday open mic here when this room is full and fucking crushed a 4-minute set, and I'm up till 4 a.m. just hyper stimulated off of it.
And this is a drug. This is.
Yeah.
It is.
Yeah. Absolutely.
And I'm an addict.
You see how they fucking they hoard out
And
there?
that's how I do
I don't know if
comedy.
I mentioned the crack part, but I have an addiction issue.
Yeah, that's how you have to treat this thing. You seen them? I mean, they line up. Imagine people lining up, and it was like, you don't get this feeling
They
anywhere
do look like they're
else.
at the methadone clinic.
Yes. Oh my God. Yes. And also a lot of them came from the methadone clinic. So
Yeah. I see
it's
the
a
same
natural second stop.
Yeah. There's the same line up here by the Arch Center for HIV tests as well. Same people.
You
same
know,
They're
line.
like, who books this? Yeah.
Yeah, the Magic Johnson
Yeah,
Theater.
dude, is this like a bucket pull or no? Everybody's going up. It's funny. I had a conversation kind of like this with the guy that I told you about that I started with, and another guy who did stand up with us one time right around that time period, and the conversation we were having was that like it's an addiction, and this was months into it, and both of us were like, we can't, all we want to do, it's all we think about, like constantly, like I'm running bits to everybody who wants to have a conversation with, I'm annoying the shit out of everyone. And then the third guy was like, I don't know if I'd really it's fun, and the two of us are still doing it, and he never did it again. And I'm like, oh, that's what it is. It either hits you and hooks you, or it's not for you.
Yeah.
That's like the basis of everything that you do. I mean, I'll be putting myself through shit just to be like, man, this is terrible.
Just so I can talk about it on stage.
I was like, this is a good 5 minutes. I kind of fucked up today, but I was a lot
And that's
of
what I was
material.
saying about the toxic relationships.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's not because I'm
you treat it like a
toxic.
muse. Like, this bitch is bad for me, but that's like 30 minutes. That's 20, 30 minutes. I can talk about this.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Just for the bit. You'll fuck your life up for the bit.
Yeah, damn right. All day. Yeah.
Musicians and painters and poets have the muse, and comedians have our ex-girlfriends.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, the used. It's a good one. Yeah, it's I have had several like really good moments that I turned into bits that in the moment I was like, yeah, but later I'm going to make this funny.
For sure.
You put yourself through it.
But it almost gets like, you almost can't even enjoy experiences sometimes because you're like, I'm going to turn this into a bit. You don't even get to really soak in the experience that just happened because you're like already writing it down.
Like, how am I going to say this?
How am I going to make this funny?
Like, you're not funny if life is going great. You know, like you go up there, like, "Hi guys, I'm awesome." You know, I get pussy all the time, and I got my bills are paid.
You don't think Matt Rife is funny?
Yeah, I got abs. Look at me. That's hilarious. No, like, you're usually at your best whenever you're miserable.
When you're at your lowest, yeah. It is so
Everyone's
weird.
like, you're killing right now, and you're like, man, I'm fucking dying.
Every time. Fucking every time.
You're like, no, I'm thinking about it a lot.
Yeah. Oh man, that's it right there, though. That's the fucking curse. That's the art.
No, I got it.
All right, so y'all got together, and then you're like,
and then we broke up, and then we got back together, and then we broke up. It's been a crazy year.
We met at Vulcan, and it was just, I come up for my break on the patio, and I came up there to smoke a joint, and Gabe was smoking a joint as well, and then we just kind of passed them to each other, and then started riffing as if we were old buddies or something that were just
and it was
picking
just
up where we left off.
Yeah, it was just nonsense. One of us said something completely ridiculous, and then the other one was like, yeah, we're doing this. And then we just fucking silly riffed for, I don't know, 30 minutes up there.
And then he came to the first Christmas party I had. Right. So the first Thanksgiving party I had on 2021, it was just like 5 Vulcan door guys. On Christmas, it was 5 Vulcan door guys, and they left. And then a second rotation of people came in. And it was Gabe and Nate. What's Nate's last name?
De La Hoya.
De La Hoya, and Nate's significant other at the time. And they came over, and we were all smoking joints with my roommate James out back and shooting the breeze. And then I think James told a story about a bear in Colorado, and then Gabe told this story about a bear, and it was a really good story. It was a really captivating story. And then I think James, instead of Trouble Bear, he said Treble Bear. It was you or James. Someone said Treble Bear instead of Trouble Bear, and then we're like, we're the Treble Bears. And then it just kind of became a thing. And then
although it didn't, like, we talk about it, but it never, like, we never referenced it again. Like, that group hung out many more times, and we, like, somebody as we were walking out the door would be like, "Oh yeah, we're the Treble Bears."
Yeah, that's true too. It was like a band name that we came up with, but we never used.
Yeah. We kept touring as the old name, but like internally we're like, no, but we're Treble Bears.
Was that the name of the first podcast? Or?
No.
The first podcast didn't have a name.
No, it was
we're just shooting the shit in my in my fucking. I had equipment, I had mics and stuff, and I was like, fuck it, let's just go sit in my shed and see if something happens.
Yeah,
and it was good. We sat out there and bullshitted for like 2 hours, and it was actually a legit conversation.
Well, I came up there to help you lay that tile, right? Yeah. Came up there to help Gabe lay some tile in his kitchen and living room and stuff, and then just we were about to hang out and smoke, but before we did that, he pulled out some studio equipment and just sat it up and just like, let's see what happens. And we just sat there with the mics in our hands while we were getting high and bullshitted back and forth. And then you had the Stoney Baloney idea not long later and hit me up about it.
Yeah. And it was, I mean, really and truly, that was a throwaway idea. It was mostly something that I was like, I thought about, but I was saying just
You'd be surprised,
to get a little like,
stick?
That's funny. You know what I'm saying? That's all I was going for. And you were like, yes. And then here we fucking are.
Yeah.
And he came over to my house.
Change later. Yeah.
Yeah. He came over to my house with the same equipment, and then we recorded
and we just set up
phones.
3 phones and recorded.
And it was literally just like the phone on my desk, leaning against the TV.
It was my
sitting on a shitty
fucking
futon.
windshield mount from my car.
Yeah,
that I
that's
just
what it was.
Suctioned to the fucking table, and it fell at least 3 times during the episode. It was fucking hilarious.
It was very funny.
Yeah.
And it grew from that all the way to, I mean, y'all had a full production in that little room right there. Y'all had like nice ass.
Yeah, so
cameras, all the
it
different
started
angles.
with in that room with just like
Yeah, it was just my smoke room the
nothing.
way that it was, and then we started altering it.
There's 3 different iterations of that room over the episodes that we did there. Because there was the original setup, then we put the table in and the big chair and like actually set it up, but it was still the phones. And then we changed it a little bit when Nick brought in the actual cameras. To your point, we got like actual equipment.
And then y'all had
shit
like
that.
all the toys by then. You had
Yeah.
this thing on the
Yeah.
table. You had your little fucking wine glass.
Yeah, we added new smoking
And then there was
toys as we go
the
along.
gas mask.
It started with the
nearly
gas
fucking
mask.
Yeah,
killed
we
me.
haven't brought Marvin out in a long time.
It's funny because the gas mask is the one that looks the most intimidating, but the ones that we've been upgrading to are like, oh, what's that? That's neat and
Yeah,
fun.
oh, that
But
looks
no,
fun.
it is
You're dead.
Fucking not.
You're fucking dead.
Yeah.
It's
Are the cops coming? The
Yeah,
cops are coming,
that
right?
thing, it'll put smoke in your eyes.
I gotta go. I gotta go.
Yeah.
I gotta go to Buzzmill.
Oh man, I nearly fucking died in that thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just there's no oxygen.
Yeah, it's just smoke until you tap out. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
fuck
great.
that. Speaking
So
of
good.
which, so what you got here?
Oh, you want to play it?
Yes, please. Can you see this thing? I don't know. Oh yeah, there's one right there.
This is the
Fucking A.
this is the Stundin glass. These they actually followed Stoney Baloney recently.
You know what's funny? The first episode we did was just us, right? And then the first one, then
Can I
we
get another beer,
decided.
Justin? Can I get another beer, please?
Then we decided like we're gonna do this. This is gonna be the podcast. This is the premise, and let's get guests. And the first one that we did with a guest, we didn't do at my house. We did it at Mason's house.
Oh, that's
Mason
right.
was the guest.
The very first episode wasn't even in your room. That's funny.
And then the second and third episode we filmed on the same day. So we had Nick came
Look at that
over.
thing. Look at that.
And then you.
Yeah, Nick Sapaglia came over and filmed an episode, and then you came over and filmed an
And
episode.
then and I got to play around with the gas mask, and we talked about the Stoniest and the Baloneyest story. And so the idea is that like, okay, we tell a couple stories, and one of them is baloney, right? That's what the
Yeah, one of us is lying and one of us is telling the truth.
Yeah. Yeah, so the guest comes on, like you came on and you told a story about strippers. So then Gabe and I both told a story about strippers.
Yeah.
I forgot about that story.
Yeah,
We
Victor.
got him. We got him.
The Hight Today Show.
Oh, good.
The high all day show after
Yeah,
this.
I was about to say.
It hurts. Okay. All right.
Yeah. Yeah, so again, this one looks all fine and fancy and like it's your best friend.
I've been in that within the past 2 days. You did something to that thing. That's the hardest that it's hit.
Oh, I cleaned it out. So the little tube gets clogged and then it doesn't. Yeah. This time.
I was like, God damn, got Victor. Then I hit it. I'm like, oh shit.
Yeah.
I'm good.
Oh boy.
Yeah. It works.
Rebecca, get in here. Rebecca, we have a podcast idea. It's called Everybody Forgets What They're Talking About.
All the South by staff is like, what's going on in that room over there? All right.
Are they okay? Are they okay in there? Do they
No.
do they
No, we're not. We need help.
Do they need iced coffee or something? Let me bring my French bulldog in to cheer them up.
Yeah. Speaking of which, drugs. All right.
Yes.
I thought you were saying witches. Speaking of which,
Speaking of
but also-
witches,
drugs.
drug.
Speaking of which,
Which is like drugs.
Speaking of witches, drugs.
psychedelic switch drugs. You guys are making a lot of sense.
You grew up Christian. You're not supposed to do drugs. You're not supposed to have sex.
Nope.
How'd you get into drugs, guys?
Oh God.
What was the first
sex.
drug? You didn't go straight to crack, did you? You must have tried weed first.
So, in my early childhood, my dad wanted me to grow up in the church. So we went to church every Sunday for years. And then at a certain point, that kind of stopped. Probably around when I was like 11 or 12, that stopped being as frequent a thing. It was also around that time. Yeah, it's not long after that, grandma passed away, and I think it was also a little bit before that too, before I first started getting high, that I started learning about the family a little bit and knowing that.
Knowing too much.
Yeah, knowing too much about my family, because my family is all, like, my great-grandfather was a moonshine runner.
Whoa.
Right. One of my uncles was like a major drug dealer and had to do prison time for it. My dad and my mom were drug dealers up until the point that I was born, and then they stopped. So I started like learning about all of that and shit like that. And then I fucking got high with my buddy Pete in the woods one day, the preacher's son.
Yeah.
And
it's always the preacher's kid.
And his cousin, who was like the deacon's son.
They had weed.
Yeah, Pete had a joint rolled, and we went down the woods and we smoked a joint.
How old were you?
Like 13.
Whoa.
And we came back up the street, and we went in the house. My dad was sitting in the living room. We came in giggling, and he was like, "What's so funny?"
Yeah.
And we're like, "Nothing." Never have I laughed. I don't like laughter or fun or knees.
We're just trying to frown.
It's the worst when they look in your eyes, right? Like
Yeah.
Like, are you? What's going on?
No,
They can tell I'm high. You know I'm high.
And then my dad said to me, or to us, I should say, "Who's got the weed? I want to get high. One of you is going to get me high, or I'm taking you two next door, and I'm showing your dads what goofballs looks like." So that was my first time finding out. That was my first time getting high, getting caught getting high, finding out my dad get high, and also that my dad will blackmail my friends who are like 14 years old. And that started a really fucking dark and weird relationship.
So the next day, he tried crack.
Yeah.
Your dad's like, "Who's got the crack?" Yo, whoa. Okay.
That was probably
crazy.
a couple years later. That was like 2 years later.
It's funny because that's probably something I'd do. I wouldn't necessarily like, I don't know if I'd say it like that, but I'd steal it from my son. I definitely would. I'd take his weed for sure. Like, you smoking in my house, that's my weed now, right? But I don't know. I don't want him to smoke till later. I wouldn't smoke with him. That's for damn sure. Y'all smoke together?
Well, my dad's relationship with me and weed was very back and forth the way that your thought pattern just was, because one day it would be like, it's cool if you're going to smoke weed, do it at home where it's like under my supervision. The reason people your age get in trouble smoking weed is because they're out smoking weed in the woods and the park and places they're not supposed to. So get high here.
Yeah.
So weed became like this sort of reward system that my dad had for me, where it was like, if you do good in school, I'll get you high.
You can get worse at school.
Yeah, exactly. And then, it would be like that for a couple months or a couple years. And then I think one of my buddies was selling my dad and, his coworkers weed and shit. And it got to a point where he was like, just let Scott sell. Scott take an ounce and he'll sell quarters to you. So my first selling weed too was this thing kind of under my dad's order.
It graduates so quickly.
my dad was like okay, I'm selling weed, and it was under his supervision basically. And then same thing, it was a very bipolar relationship for like a couple weeks or years. It would be fine. And then one day, I'd be like, "Scott, stop selling weed in this fucking house," type shit. Or like, "I don't want to see you smoking weed," You can smoke cigarettes, you can't smoke cigarettes. So it was very fucking back and forth and confusing. I think the other thing too is once it became more out of his control, that he couldn't use it as like a control system or a reward system, that's probably when he started. Thinking back on it, that's probably what made him be like, "No, never mind. I hate weed now. Weed's bad."
There's also like no matter how bad a parent is, there is still a part of you naturally that drives you to do the things that a good parent would do.
Right.
So there are moments, I'm sure, where he was like, "What the fuck am I doing?"
I just
Right,
you
yeah.
that's
didn't
why
get
I
to
don't want to
see that
smoke with
part of it.
elders in
Right.
general.
But obviously, clearly, he didn't stick to. You know what I'm saying?
Right, he
But
never stuck to
certainly,
it,
that was the driver. Sometimes for that moment was he had a feeling like he came down and was like, "Oh, what am I doing?" You know what I'm talking about? That fucking moment of clarity where you're like, "I got to do everything different." And you were one of the things that had to change.
Yeah.
Fucking A. So, all right, were you smoking cigarettes already too?
Yeah, I started smoking cigarettes before I started smoking weed. My buddy Luke and I. Also, Luke was Pete's cousin, the Deacon's son. He was also the star quarterback on the high school football team. And
Small town.
He was the star point guard on the state championship basketball team. Yeah. That is the first person that I smoked cigarettes with. He like convinced me to steal Grandpa's cigarettes, and then we went and smoked them in the woods.
Everything in the woods.
And then, obviously I kept smoking cigarettes, didn't become a star athlete. We can't all be athletes. Yeah.
Fucking A.
But yeah, I kept smoking after that. And that was another thing too. My
11,
father was
12?
actually more strict about my cigarette smoking than my weed smoking.
11 or 12 smoking cigarettes.
Yep.
Fuck
and it wasn't
yeah.
like a pack a day, you know what I mean? But that's when I first started smoking them, and it just got more consistent over time. Mm-hmm. But I do think by the time that I was, probably about 15 or 16, I was a full-time smoker since I was 16.
So what is
a pack a day.
Is it true what they say? Like weed is a gateway drug? What got you going after that? You just kept going? I mean, the hardest I've done now is acid.
Well, the first thing I ever did was drink beer, was like sip on beer with my family, because I grew up in a house full of alcoholics.
Here's the truth to that statement.
I sip some beer.
For somebody who is going to end up doing hard drugs, weed is probably a gateway to that.
Like if you start anywhere,
weed as it's in its existence will lead to other things. That's not the reality. Yeah. But yes, if you're a person who has been through or experienced the type of traumatic things that lead to drug addiction, weed is the easiest thing to find. So yeah, that's the first thing you typically try.
Right? Is that the hardest you've gone?
Oh God, no.
Oh shit.
No.
All right. When did you start smoking?
So I about the same time, about 12 or 13. I had a buddy who was by 13 he was he had already been in and out of, like, he had been on Ritalin since he was like 5. He had been on but at that point by 13 he had been in and out of mental hospitals and shit. Like he was on all kinds of fucking antipsychotics and shit like that. So like he was always getting fucked up just on the shit that he had access to, but he also had an older brother. So we stole cigarettes from his older brother, and it was, kind of similar. Like we would have one, one a day here and there, you know what I'm saying? It wasn't something that you did regularly at that point, but I was, the first time I smoked anything was actually weed, because we stole, his older brother had a pack of like Black and Milds, or not Black and Milds, the fucking Philly blunts. And we just took one out of it. And we were like, oh, that one's already been opened. He probably won't miss the one he's already started smoking, not realizing that those were blunts. And so we took a fucking, it was like probably 3/4 or half of a blunt that was left, thinking we were going to go out and try tobacco
in there and everything for
it was packed up. Yeah, it was loaded. So we fucking smoked that and had, like, I've told this story before, but we had this glorious experience. Like I remember legitimately, like, when you smoke weed in Grand Theft Auto and the lighting changes, like I remember that happening in real life. Like I was just looking around and I was like, all of the colors, like it was just brighter. But like, it's fucked. It's not good to have your first experience with that young, because life is already like that when you're that age.
Yeah.
So it's not, it taints things in a, like, I wish I hadn't experienced those things so young, but also I had such a fucked up life at home. I was getting beat. I was, molested.
It was already time to start self-medicating.
Yeah.
I didn't realize, like, I didn't know I was sad before this. And then I started smoking.
And then you're like, I feel good. Oh, is this what people feel like?
Yeah, like I'm a teenager with problems apparently, because I'm all of a sudden happy, and this is like really meditating and nice, and like, you could maintain it, and like, you end up a better person after, you feel like, and you get all artsy and shit and emotional. I remember, my first times, like, man, I ate an edible and I could see behind my own head.
Your first time was an edible? Mm-hmm. Oh shit, that's extreme. That's amazing.
Do you know how heavy it was?
Yeah, it was a whole eighth. So you finally grind it up. You grind it up twice through the grinder. You make it a powder. And then you put it on a graham cracker, whole fat peanut butter. It's called a firebomb or a firecracker or something. It tastes like shit. All right. But it gets you fucked up.
Yeah, because you just ate the whole fucking eighth in one go. Oh my God, that's amazing.
Oh man. So
Yeah, so
I can
you
see
had
behind my own head like Grand Theft Auto, fucking third person perspective,
That's
walking
cool.
around the mall. I went to a buffet.
And like ate the whole buffet.
And you
Like
could,
they
like,
shut down that
you
day.
could feel and you know you are the food, and it's like it's going in your mouth, and like it's like a Scorsese movie watching you eat. You know, it's crazy.
The first time I smoked dank, like actual good weed, not fucking mids, I was at my buddy's house. We were probably like 18, and we took like 3 hits, and I was higher than I'd ever been in my life and had violent munchies. And his mom was having this banquet the next day, and she had 3 boxes of those like the little puff things. It's like a flaky kind of thing, and then there's chocolate on top and then just cream in the middle, but they're in the freezer. You know what I'm talking about? Those little like whatever those are. She had 3 boxes of those, and we were just like so high. We're like, we're just gonna eat a couple and she won't notice. And then 2 hours later, we go back in and we had eaten all 3 fucking boxes. Like just like convincing it, just like 2 at a time. Like, no, it'll be fine. And then we ate all. She was so fucking mad the next morning.
Yes.
But yeah, I got that was the most, that experience where like the food, like I could feel it. Like I was experiencing each one of those things was like the first food I had ever had in my life. It was amazing.
It's like it's richer. You know, you could just taste every little thing. Oh man, and you don't get full. You don't feel that. No,
it's
not
terrible.
till later, not till you wake up the next morning.
Yeah, and you've got to shit a 5-pound log.
Yeah.
So that was my introduction to drugs. But I did, you know, I smoked cigarettes and then weed intermittently, and then when my mom got sick, I started doing pretty much anything. I was snorting and shooting up coke. I was
like needle.
yeah.
Oh God.
Yeah.
I could never find my veins.
I got big old juicy veins. Yeah. They were real easy. And there's a footage of a short film, because I was doing, after I got out of high school, I did some independent films and stuff with some people in Atlanta. But there's a scene from a film where I was shooting up in the scene, and I actually fucking shot up.
Whoa, on camera.
Nobody in the room
Method
knew that
acting.
that's what I was fucking doing.
Fucking A.
Yeah, I was gacked out.
God damn.
Yeah, I've never watched that footage since, because I'm like, I don't want to fucking
No, yeah.
relive
It's true.
that.
I just
It was
got
a
like,
lot.
I just got when you said gacked out, I got anxiety.
I don't want no one. You know, we can all pray together after this.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, we're gonna have to cast out some demons. Absolutely. But then
He's further
removed
removed from his demons than I am.
Yeah.
I just need to get a little bit more further removed. You know what I mean? And I won't have those feelings as much anymore.
Strong.
Yeah,
You
but once in a while,
stay
so it's not, you don't
I
ever
know
get all
that.
the way away, Scott.
I know the triggers don't go away, but yeah. That shit feels rotten, man. It feels weird
does.
when it happens.
Yeah, it does.
Fuck.
Yeah.
It's a different type of
Man.
But I was doing I was, and my mom ended up dying shortly after that. So I was just getting fucked up in any way I could. Like that, literally anything anybody had, I said yes to. So the only thing I didn't try, legitimately, crack is the only drug I didn't try. And it's because I walked in a room and a guy was smoking it, and his pipe was gross and his fucking Brillo pad was already burnt up. And so the smell of it was the most awful thing I'd ever smelled. And I was like, I can't like stomach the smell of it to do it. So I never tried crack, but literally everything else. I smoked meth for like a year and a half. It was real bad.
I heard it smells like burning sugar or something.
burning
like that.
rubber.
Burning rubber.
Yeah.
That's
But
like
if you burn the oil,
But not a good burning rubber, like a tire burnout. Like if somebody sat with a lighter and just burned
it smells like a tire
string
fire.
of rubber. Just like, it's real bad.
If you're
DMT.
burning it up wrong, if you're like burning it up, it burns the oil in it, and that's a really fucking nasty taste and smell. It's terrible for your lungs. It's terrible for your throat. It's horrible for your teeth. And usually you get to a point because you're like, I want to keep smoking crack, that you're fucking hitting it so hard and put so much flame to it that you are burning it up like that. It's
like a
nasty.
rubbery burn.
It's nasty.
You know,
it's
whenever I'm doing,
it's fucking
DMT
gross.
smells like a wood, doesn't it? You ever hit
It smells
that?
like mothballs.
Like a earthy kind of. That's always, I can always pick.
You're
that
right.
up.
I do need to go home and smoke some DMT to purge all this
That's
crack
like
talk.
A lavender
Crack Talk with Scott and Gabe.
high on crack today show. Yes, sir.
When I did kill Tony the first time, Rogan was the guest, and I told a part of my crack story and my redemption tale. And he said that I should do a hot ones, but it's with the crack.
What the fuck?
He suggested that I should like have like different levels of crack and do a hot one.
Nice. Very nice.
That's wild.
Yeah.
Okay, I get that now. High ones. Yeah, you're just doing like, you're getting higher and higher. That's interesting. That's a good idea.
Still haven't taken it.
It's an idea.
It's just heroin at the end of the line.
To bring you back down. You're going to be fucking going.
I mean, we've kind of done that at my parties where like different drugs keep happening. It's like, okay, let's drink, let's smoke some weed, let's do some coke.
The
You guys
latest
wanna eat
I
a bunch of
got,
mushrooms?
it's
Here's some acid.
Before you know
and
it,
then it's 3:30 in the morning. There's
Yeah,
12 of us left, and I pull out the DMT pens. I'm like, you guys ready to die?
dude, you start seeing gods, and they're all looking at you and shit. And like, you've been eating fucking turkey and mushrooms.
That's because
all
they're
night.
irritated. They're like, what are you? Oh, God damn it. Scott's
over
having a
here.
party again.
And that's exactly how it feels whenever you're doing DMT. It's like you get to the door of the gods, just the door, the front door, and you're just annoying them. But they don't let you.
They just hear
Yeah.
Scott's here with his people again.
The eternal beings. And-
My house is definitely haunted now, too, by the way.
yeah, that
100%.
closet.
Yeah, some of them come back.
That closet is like an evil portal. Yeah, for sure. Like I feel like it's sucked in there. You
Oh,
have
my bedroom?
Yeah, where
Yeah.
you hold everything. You have like a shrine and shit.
Yeah, my altar. Yeah, there's definitely a weird energy where I do my occult rituals at. Yeah.
Some eyes wide shut shit. Man, you guys are fucking awesome. This is always so fun.
Well, the piano player doesn't have to wear a blindfold at my parties.
Yeah.
It's not that.
Vitiligo. What do they say? What's that secret word?
Fuck, I forget.
Oh man, shout out Tom
Fidelio.
Cruise. Yeah.
Fidelio.
Vitiligo. And they're like, you're not a member. All right.
They're like, Michael?
Is the second password.
Anything you guys want to plug before we go? Or anything coming up? Anything you want to shout out? Shout out to Stoney Baloney.
We got a show we're producing in Belton
Yeah?
on the 22nd of March. I don't know when this will drop, but oh fuck yeah,
Cool.
Yeah,
Belton, the 22nd of March. Come on,
Fuck
come
yeah.
all. Right outside of Temple. Come on down from Waco.
Yeah. See, this will be out right around that time that day.
perfect.
Yeah, cool.
Go get
Yes.
Fantastic. Yep. Stoney Baloney
again,
podcast. We need
guys.
subscribers, man. We need more subscribers. If you
Go
like
hit
people
'em
who
up.
get high and fucking tell cool stories, we've got Victor on there twice. He'll probably be on there for a third this summer, I imagine.
And let me know. I got some shit right. I'm glad you reminded me of the stripper thing. That's crazy.
Yeah, you told the one about the stripper coming to.
My birth, well, not my birth, my graduation party.
yeah.
My dad got me a 60-year-old stripper for my graduation party.
yeah, it was
She
fun.
was so old.
Do you remember what the second story is? Because I fucking do. We need to go to the Renaissance Fair.
Yeah,
need
it's
to go
on
to
right
Renaissance
now.
Fair.
It's on
I
right now.
fucking know it
Yeah.
is. Let's
Yeah.
fucking go,
Yeah.
dude.
Okay.
Let's take psychedelics. Let's go
I was about to
drink
say, like,
mead.
yeah, we got to go
Let's
back in
get-
time.
Yeah, let's time travel.
Yeah, we got
they have
to.
like camping there too, right?
You know,
There's camps
those
and
fucking
shit out there,
carnival
too.
people, those people that live there, they do drugs. I've heard about
But
that.
all like
Oh,
all like the
yeah.
burner
Oh,
people
all
and
the
shit like
Timey
that
fucks.
do too. Yeah,
God
yeah.
damn, the Renaissance shit, they don't give a damn. That's
Dude,
like
yeah.
that nighttime shit. They don't even shower. Oh
Well,
my God.
there's one that they do where there's camping and stuff at kind of like a music festival. I don't know if it's that one, but I know of one in Texas where they do that. I think it's out closer to Houston.
Renfair people get down. We gotta
Yeah,
go
they
out
do.
there.
They're
We'll probably
fucking
find the drugs there.
nerdy people like to have fun too.
Old time.
We're all fucking nerds. We're all like to have fun. Everybody's kinky.
Yes, sir. I'm feeling kinky. It's about to be damn near 2:00.
You boys feeling kinky?
We're just getting the day started. South by day 1. All right, guys. I appreciate y'all.
Fuck yeah. Thank you for
They
having
can
us.
find you Stoney Baloney, Scott,
Stoney Baloney
Gabe.
Productions.
Yeah, Stoney Baloney Productions on Instagram. This is not _Scott on Instagram.
Gabe
Yo,
K
let
Comedy.
me hit one. Do you have the little?
Oh, yeah.
Let's hit the wine glass and let's wrap.
Let's get the
out.
motherfucking
Let's fucking-
Zenko.
Oh, I love that
Zenko,
thing. You haven't seen it yet,
Zenko,
Justin.
Zenko.
It's a beautiful.
It's pretty.
feature.
It's pretty.
This
awesome.
thing, I'm surprised you didn't want to hit this. You should.
It's basically a gravity bong, right?
That yeah.
Yeah.
Student glass.
That
yeah.
one, yeah, that one. But this one right
It's like
here,
a gravity hookah. He's got work to do today, man.
yeah, I got work to do
He said
today.
he's gonna work on the studio.
Shit.
He smokes that student glass. He'll just be over there.
Yeah.
He'll be over there like this. She wore blue. I fucking love this studio, man. Velvet. Boom, boom. He will be in. Dude, red curtains in here. A little fucking squiggly black and white floor, and this is the Black Lodge, dude.
I can imagine.
That's the Blue Lodge.
You tuck your dick back. You're over here dancing and shit, and you're like,
Oh yeah. Him or me?
you, Justin.
Yep. Whoever's in there.
Whoever's in here. All right, here we go. You see this thing? Isn't that cool? Oh, there's no carb on this one.
Velvet.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's nice.
Thank you. That's been the Hight Today show. You guys have a good afternoon. Thank you so much. I love you guys.
I love you.
Love you too, bye.
That's a wrap. Oh my God. Oh.